The morning after we docked at Willow Bend, I wake to the smell of coffee. Real coffee, brewing in the galley, its aroma cutting through the stale air of the boat. For a moment, still caught between sleep and waking, I forget where I am. Then reality crashes back. The outbreak, the marina, the desperate flight upriver, the deal with the survivors in this small town. I sit up on the salon seating where I crashed last night. My back aches from the awkward position. My mouth tastes like I've been chewing on rust. Through the gaps in the blankets covering the windows, I can see daylight. Proper daylight, not the gray pre-dawn we arrived in. I check my watch, 8:30 in the morning. I've slept for almost 5 hours straight, the longest stretch since this nightmare began. Quinn is at the galley counter, pouring coffee into mismatched mugs she must have found in the cabinets. She looks up when I move. Morning. Sleep okay? Better than expected. I stand, joints popping, and accept the mug she offers. The coffee is hot and strong, slightly bitter, perfect. Where'd this come from? Tomas brought it by an hour ago. Said it's part of the supply deal. Figured we could use it. She takes a sip from her own mug. Raphael and Piper are still out. Let them sleep. We've got a long day ahead. Clearing buildings? That's the plan. Thomas and his people have been working through the town systematically, but they're short on manpower. We help them clear the hardware store and the pharmacy today. We get first pick of supplies from both. Medicine, tools, materials, things we need for the long term. The long term. The phrase feels strange. I've been so focused on immediate survival that I haven't thought much about what comes after. But Quinn is right. We need to think beyond the next few days, beyond just staying alive hour to hour. We need to build something sustainable. What about the boat? I ask. We're leaving it unguarded? Tomas is posting someone at the marina. Kid named Elian, maybe 16. He's got a walkie-talkie. If anything happens, he'll radio us. She pulls out a second walkie-talkie from her jacket, shows it to me. We'll stay in contact. It's more organized than I expected. These people in Willow Bend have been working together, building systems. It gives me a flicker of hope that maybe, just maybe, some kind of society can survive this. Raphael emerges from the aft cabin, stretching and yawning. That coffee I smell? Help yourself, Quinn says. He pours a cup, drinks half of it in one long pull, then looks at me. You ready for this? Going out there, facing those things? Honestly, I'm not sure. I've been hiding for days, avoiding conflict, staying invisible. The idea of actively seeking out infected, of confronting them, makes my stomach clench. But I nod anyway. Yeah, I'm ready. Good. Because Quinn and I can't do this alone. We need you functional. There's an edge to his voice, something sharp. I realize he's testing me, trying to gauge if I'll be a liability. Fair enough. I haven't proven myself yet, haven't shown I can handle the violence that survival requires. Piper wakes last, moving slowly, her eyes puffy from sleep or tears. She doesn't speak, just takes the coffee Quinn offers and drinks it while staring at the floor. The girl is broken inside. I can see it. But she's still here, still moving. That counts for something. We eat a quick breakfast, canned peaches and crackers, more supplies from Tomas, and then prepare to leave the boat. Quinn checks her pistol, counting ammunition. Raphael does the same with his rifle. Piper picks up her nail-studded bat, testing its weight. And I have the knife, the big chef's knife from the boat's galley. It feels inadequate compared to their weapons, but it's what I have. Stay close. Quinn instructs as we step onto the dock. Watch your spacing, close enough to support each other, far enough that one infected can't take down multiple people. If you see one, call it out. If you engage, make it count. Headshots or destroy the brain. Nothing else stops them permanently. We walk down the dock toward shore, and I feel exposed, vulnerable under the open sky after days in the boat's confined darkness. The sun is warm on my face, and the air smells clean, like river water and trees. It's almost possible to pretend the world is normal, that we're just 4 people going for a walk in a small riverside town. Then I see the blood on the pavement, dried to brown, and the illusion shatters. Tomas is waiting for us at the marina entrance with Simone and 3 others I don't know. A young woman with a crossbow, a man in his 50s carrying a machete, and the teenager Elian who'll be watching the boat. They all look tired, worn down by days of constant vigilance. "Morning," Thomas greets us. "Everyone ready?" "Ready," Quinn confirms. "Good. We're hitting the hardware store first. It's 2 blocks east, corner of Main and River Street. We scouted it yesterday, at least 4 infected inside, maybe more. The front door is locked, but there's a back entrance through the loading dock. We go in quiet, clear them out room by room, then secure the building and inventory what's useful." He makes it sound routine, like this is just another day at work. Maybe for him it is. He's been doing this for days, learning how to hunt the things that used to be his neighbors. We move through the town in a loose formation, Tomas leading, Quinn and Raphael flanking, the rest of us in the middle. The streets are eerily empty. Cars sit abandoned in parking spots, some with doors open, personal belongings scattered around them. Store windows are dark. A few buildings show damage. Broken glass, kicked-in doors, scorch marks from fires that burned out. But it's not destroyed. Willow Bend isn't like the city we fled, where chaos had consumed everything. Here, the destruction is localized, controlled. The survivors have been fighting back, reclaiming their space, and it shows. We pass a body in the street, mostly covered by a tarp, but with one gray arm visible, the flesh mottled and wrong. I look away quickly. "There," Tomas says, pointing. The hardware store is ahead. A 2-story brick building with Riverside Hardware Est, 1987, painted on the side. The front windows are intact but dark, and I can't see any movement inside. "Loading dock is around back," he continues. "Simone, Cade, you're with me on point. Quinn, Raphael, you follow. Everyone else holds the perimeter. Once we're inside and have eyes on the infected, we'll signal. Then you come in and we clear together. Questions?" No one speaks. We move around to the back of the building, down an alley littered with cardboard boxes and old pallets. The loading dock is a raised concrete platform with a roll-up door and a regular door beside it. The regular door is slightly ajar. "That's how they got in," Thomas mutters. He approaches slowly, machete raised. The door, he pauses, listening. I hear it too. Movement inside, shuffling sounds, and that wet clicking that's become the soundtrack of my nightmares. Thomas pushes the door open slowly. It creaks, way too loud, and the sounds inside change immediately. The clicking becomes frantic, urgent. They know we're here. "Go, go!" Tomas shouts, and suddenly we're moving, rushing through the door into darkness. The back room of the hardware store is a storage area full of shelving units and boxes. Emergency lighting provides dim illumination, just enough to see shapes moving between the shelves. 3 of them, no, 4, lurching toward us with arms outstretched. Tomas engages the first one, his machete swinging in a practiced arc. The blade connects with the infected skull with a sound like a melon splitting, and the thing drops. Simone fires her crossbow at another, the bolt punching into its forehead, and it crumples. The remaining 2 come at us fast, Not the shuffle drag of the slower ones, but that horrible stuttering run. Raphael fires his rifle, the shot deafening in the enclosed space. The bullet takes the lead infected in the chest, staggering it, but not stopping it. He fires again, this time hitting the head, and it goes down. The last one is on me before I can react. I see its face up close for the first time in full light. A woman, maybe 30 years old when she was alive, wearing a torn grocery store uniform. Her eyes are filmed white, her skin gray-green, her mouth open and clicking. She grabs my jacket with hands that feel cold and hard, pulling me toward her. I react on instinct, bringing the knife up and thrusting it forward. The blade punches through her eye socket, penetrating deep. She jerks, convulses, and goes still. I pull the knife free, and she collapses at my feet. I'm shaking. My hands won't stop shaking. I just killed someone. Something. Whatever that was. It used to be a person. And I just stabbed it in the eye and watched it die. First time, Kate asks, the man with the machete. His voice is neutral, not mocking. I nod, can't speak. Gets easier. Not much easier, but some. You did good. Fast reaction, clean kill. That matters. Does it matter? I don't know. I just know I feel sick and wired and terrified all at once. 4 down, Thomas says, checking the bodies. But I heard at least 4 yesterday. There might be more. Let's clear the rest of the building before we relax. We move through the hardware store systematically, checking every aisle, every room. The store is larger than it looked from outside, with a main showroom full of tools and supplies, a garden section, a lumber area. It's a survivor's paradise. Everything we need to build, repair, fortify is here. We find one more infected in the lumber section, trapped behind a fallen shelf. Raphael handles it with a single shot. Then we're done, the building cleared, and Thomas posts Elian at the front door to stand watch while we inventory. The next 2 hours pass in a blur of organization. We make lists of what's available, prioritize what's most useful. Lumber, nails, screws, tools, rope, tarps, duct tape. The basics of construction and repair. Wire, batteries, flashlights, camping gear, seeds, fertilizer, gardening tools. The store has everything, and we catalog it all. Quinn negotiates with Thomas about what we can take. We settle on a fair split. We get building materials for fortifying the boat, some tools, batteries and flashlights, rope, and a tarp. In return, we help clear 2 more buildings today and share any information we have about conditions upriver. It's a good deal. We load our share into a wheeled cart from the store and haul it back to the marina. The walk back feels longer, more exposed. I keep scanning for threats, for movement in windows or doorways. But the streets stay empty, and we make it without incident. Back at the boat, we unload everything into the aft cabin, turning it into a makeshift storage area. The supplies are impressive, enough to really fortify the Pearl, to make her into something more than just a place to hide. This is good, I say, looking at the pile of materials. We can reinforce the windows, build shutters maybe, add better locks to the doors. And we're not done, Quinn reminds me. Still have the pharmacy this afternoon. If we can get medical supplies, antibiotics, pain medication, that's worth more than gold right now. She's right. People get sick, get injured. Without modern medicine, a simple infection could be a death sentence. We need every advantage we can get. We take a break for lunch. Sandwiches made from supplies Thomas provided, actual bread and preserved meat that tastes like luxury after days of crackers and canned soup. Piper eats mechanically, not seeming to taste anything. Raphael devours his food quickly and immediately starts examining the rifle, cleaning it with practiced motions. I find myself watching Quinn, wondering about her story. She moves with such confidence, such competence. There's something military in her bearing, the way she holds herself, the way she gives orders and expects them to be followed. You were military, I say. Not a question. She looks up from her sandwich. Marines. 8 years. Got out 2 years ago, joined the private sector. Was doing security consulting when this started. That explains a lot. Does it? I don't feel very competent. I feel like I'm barely holding it together, making this up as I go. You're doing better than the rest of us. That's not saying much. But she smiles slightly, appreciating the sentiment. The training helps, sure. Muscle memory, protocols. But nothing prepares you for this. Nothing prepares you for watching civilization collapse in 3 days. 3 days. That's all it took. 3 days from first reports to complete societal breakdown. It seems impossible, but we lived through it, are still living through it. Raphael joins the conversation. My uncle was military, army. He tried to teach me about guns, about tactics. I thought it was boring, useless. Now, he trails off, shaking his head. Now, I wish I'd paid more attention. You're doing fine, Quinn assures him. You kept your head. You can shoot straight. That's what matters. We finish eating and prepare for the afternoon operation. The pharmacy is reportedly more dangerous, more infected inside, a more complex layout. But the potential reward is worth the risk. This time we know what to expect. The fear is still there, coiling in my stomach. But it's familiar now. I've faced them. I've killed one. I can do it again if I have to. The pharmacy is 4 blocks from the marina, a modern building with large windows and automatic doors that no longer work. Thomas has 6 people with him this time, including us. We're a proper team now, armed and coordinated. The approach is the same. Scout the perimeter, find an entrance, go in fast and clear room by room. But when we breach the back door, what we find is worse than expected. The pharmacy is full of them. Not 4 or 5, but dozens. They must have been drawn here by something, some sound or movement, and gotten trapped inside when the automatic doors stopped working. They're packed in the aisles, shuffling aimlessly, bumping into each other. When we enter, when they hear us, they all turn at once. Back! Get back! Thomas shouts, but it's too late. They're surging toward us, a wave of gray flesh and clicking mouths, too many to fight. We retreat, stumbling over each other in our haste. Someone, Simone maybe, slams the door shut just as the first infected reaches it. The door shudders under the impact of bodies hitting it. Then the pounding starts, dozens of fists hammering against the metal. Jesus Christ. Cade breathes. There must be 30 of them in there. We can't clear that, Quinn says. Not with what we have. We'd need more people, better weapons. Thomas looks frustrated, angry. That pharmacy has everything we need. Insulin, antibiotics, pain meds. People in the school need that stuff. Then we come up with a better plan. A distraction maybe, draw them out a few at a time. Or we seal it up, come back when we have more resources. They debate options while I stand there, listening to the pounding, thinking about all those infected trapped inside, about what they used to be before the infection took them. 30 people, 30 lives ended, 30 families destroyed. And now they're just obstacles, problems to solve, threats to eliminate. The casual horror of it all is overwhelming. We decide to seal the pharmacy, board up the doors and windows so the infected can't get out and wander the streets. It's not a solution, but it's containment. Tomas and his people will deal with it eventually, when they're better equipped. We spend the rest of the afternoon helping them fortify other buildings, creating a defensive perimeter around the school where most of the survivors are living. It's hard work, physical labor that leaves me exhausted and sore. But it feels good too. Productive. We're building something, contributing. By evening, when we return to the boat, I'm dead on my feet. But there's a sense of accomplishment too. We helped people today. We did more than just survive. We made a difference. Quinn seems pleased too. Tomorrow we can start working on the boat. Use those materials, really fortify it. Then day after tomorrow, we move on. Where to? I asked. North. Keep going upriver. Tomas says there are smaller communities, more rural areas. Less population density means fewer infected. We find someplace quiet, set up properly. It's a plan. Not a great plan, but better than nothing. That night, lying on the salon seating, I think about what comes next. The boat is good, solid, but she's not perfect. We need to improve her, turn her into a real survival platform. I start making mental lists. Better security, more storage, some way to generate power independently, maybe some method of growing food. The idea hits me suddenly, fully formed. Growing food on the boat. It's possible. I've seen rooftop gardens, balcony gardens. Why not a boat garden? I sit up, excited now despite my exhaustion. The Pearl has a flat roof over the main salon. It's fiberglass, sturdy, designed to be walked on. We could mount planters up there, grow vegetables, herbs, create a food source that moves with us. And solar panels. If we could find solar panels, mount them on the roof too, we'd have power. Independent power, renewable, silent. No more relying on the boat's batteries or finding shore power. The more I think about it, the more the idea solidifies. We could turn the Pearl into a completely self-sufficient survival vessel. Mobile, defensible, sustainable. A floating fortress that doesn't need resupply, doesn't need to risk docking in dangerous places. I can barely sleep. My mind racing with possibilities. As soon as dawn breaks, I'm up, sketching plans in the notebook, calculating space and weight. Quinn wakes and finds me at the galley counter, surrounded by rough diagrams. "What's all this?" she asks. I explain my idea, speaking quickly, enthusiastically. Solar panels on the roof for power. Planters for growing food, vegetables, maybe some fruit in containers. Maybe even a small lifeboat or dinghy towed behind us that we convert into additional growing space. Rain collection systems, water filtration, everything we need to survive indefinitely without docking. Quinn listens, her expression thoughtful. It's ambitious. Do we have the resources? The hardware store has lumber, tools, wire, tarps. We could build planter boxes. Thomas mentioned a farm supply store on the edge of town. They'd have seeds, soil, fertilizer, and solar panels. Maybe some of the houses have them. We could salvage what we need. Salvaging means more time in town, more exposure. But if we succeed, we're independent. We don't have to dock anywhere dangerous. We can just disappear onto the river. She considers this for a long moment, then nods slowly. All right, let's talk to Thomas. If he can help us find these materials, we'll extend our stay an extra day or two. Build out the boat properly. We present the plan to Thomas that morning. He's intrigued, sees the value in what we're proposing. There are solar panels on some houses, he confirms. The old Brenner place has them, whole array on the roof. Family evacuated first day, never came back. You're welcome to salvage them if you can figure out how to remove them without damaging them. I can figure it out, Raphael says. He's been listening intently. I worked construction for a summer, did some electrical. Solar panels aren't that complicated. And the farm supply store? I ask. Mile out of town, on the highway. We haven't cleared it yet. Could be infected there. But if you want to risk it, you can keep whatever you find. It's settled. We have a new mission. Transform the Meridian Pearl into something unprecedented. A fully self-sufficient survival houseboat. Over the next 3 days, we work like we're possessed. Tomas assigns 2 of his people to help us, Cade and Simone, both of whom have construction experience. Together, we create something remarkable. First, we build the planter system. Using lumber from the hardware store, we construct raised boxes that fit along the edges of the salon roof. We line them with heavy plastic sheeting, fill them with soil from the farm supply store, which, miraculously, was empty of infected. We plant vegetables, tomatoes, peppers, lettuce, carrots, beans. Fast-growing varieties that will give us yields in weeks rather than months. Raphael and Cade tackle the solar panels. They spend an entire day on the roof of the Brenner house, carefully disconnecting the array and lowering the panels one by one. We end up with 6 panels, each about 3 feet by 5 feet. They mount them on a frame they build on the salon roof, angling them for maximum sun exposure. Raphael wires them to a charge controller and connects them to the boat's battery bank. When he flips the switch and power starts flowing, we all cheer. This is incredible, Quinn says, watching the meter that shows current coming in. We have electricity, real, renewable electricity. We don't stop there. I build a rain collection system using tarps and PVC pipe from the hardware store, funneling water into the boat's tanks. We add barrels for extra storage. We mount hooks and loops all around the boat's exterior for securing a lifeboat we acquired from the marina, a 12-foot inflatable with a hard floor. We'll use it as a floating garden, towed behind the main boat. We raid the town systematically, gathering everything we think we'll need. Canned foods, preserved goods, rice, beans, flour, sugar, medical supplies from houses, bandages, over-the-counter medications, first aid kits, weapons, more ammunition for the guns, knives, even a compound bow that Simone teaches me to use. Tools, spare parts, maintenance supplies for the boat. Piper starts to come alive during this process. She helps with the planting, showing a surprising knowledge of gardening. My mom had a garden, she explains quietly one afternoon. Before, she taught me. It's the most she's said in days. And I'm careful not to push, just let her talk if she wants to. I helped her plant every spring. Tomatoes were her favorite. Said nothing tastes better than a tomato you grew yourself. She touches the small tomato seedling we just planted. I hope we can keep these alive. We will, I promise, though I have no idea if that's true. By the end of the 5th day in Willow Bend, the Meridian Pearl has been completely transformed. The sleek luxury houseboat is now a fortress, bristling with modifications. The roof is covered with solar panels and planters. The windows have shutters we can close from inside, reinforced with metal brackets. The doors have multiple locks, reinforced frames. We've added storage compartments everywhere, packed with supplies. The lifeboat garden trails behind us on a 30-foot line, its inflatable sides planted with additional vegetables. We have enough food for months. We have power generation. We have water collection and filtration. We have weapons and tools and everything we need to survive on the move. Thomas inspects our work on the final evening. This is something else, he says, walking around the boat. You've built yourselves a floating fortress, a survival ark. The Ark, Quinn says, trying the name. I like it. The Meridian Pearl was her old name, but she's something new now. The Ark. It fits. We're not fleeing anymore. We're surviving. And we're doing it our way. That night, we have a final dinner with Thomas and some of the Willow Bend survivors. They're curious about our plans, about where we'll go. North, Quinn tells them, as far as the river goes. Find someplace remote, set up a permanent base. Maybe come back this way when things settle, help rebuild. If things settle, Thomas says quietly, they will. Eventually, they have to. I wish I had her optimism. The infection has spread too far, too fast. I don't see how humanity comes back from this. But maybe that's the exhaustion talking, the accumulated trauma. Maybe there's hope somewhere upriver. We leave at dawn. The whole town turns out to see us off. 50 survivors, the remnants of Willow Bend, standing on the shore and waving. It's surreal and moving and sad all at once. We're leaving them behind, leaving them to face whatever comes next alone. But we've given them hope too. They've seen what's possible, seen that survival can be more than just hiding and waiting. Some of them are already talking about building their own gardens, their own power systems. Maybe we've planted seeds of a different kind. The Ark moves smoothly into the current, her engine purring, her solar panels already collecting the morning sun. The lifeboat garden trails behind, its plants swaying gently. We're loaded down with supplies, better armed and better prepared than we've ever been. Raphael is at the helm, steering us north. Quinn is checking the weapons, making sure everything is secure. Piper is on the roof, tending the plants with a focus that's almost meditative. And I'm making notes in my journal, documenting everything we've done, everything we've learned. We're survivors now. Not just refugees fleeing the apocalypse, but people building something new, something sustainable. The world has ended, but we haven't. The river stretches ahead, wide and dark and full of possibility. Somewhere up there is safety, is a future. We just have to find it. The first 2 days upriver from Willow Bend are peaceful, almost eerily so. We see no other boats, no signs of life on either bank except for occasional smoke from distant fires. The solar panels work perfectly, keeping our batteries charged even as we run the engine. The plants on the roof and in the trailing garden are thriving, soaking up the sun and growing visibly day by day. At night, we anchor in the center of the channel, far from shore, and keep watch in shifts. Nothing disturbs us except once when something large, a log or maybe debris, bumps against the hull in the darkness, making us all jump and grab weapons before we realize it's harmless. We fall into routines. Morning. Check the plants, water them. Check the solar panels for debris or bird droppings that might reduce efficiency. Afternoon. Maintenance on the boat. Cleaning, organizing supplies, practicing with weapons. Evening. Cooking simple meals on the propane stove. Rationing our fresh food with the canned goods. Night. Watch shifts, 2 hours each, while the others sleep. It's almost comfortable, almost normal. And that scares me more than the chaos did. Because comfort makes you soft, makes you careless. On the third day, we passed through a stretch of river lined with burned buildings. Something catastrophic happened here. Whether it was military action trying to contain the outbreak or just fire spreading unchecked, I can't tell. But entire neighborhoods on both banks are just blackened shells, collapsed roofs, and empty windows, like dead eyes watching us pass. My God, Piper whispers from her position on the roof. All those people. Don't think about it, Quinn advises, but her voice is tight. She's thinking about it too. We all are. We see our first infected on the water that afternoon. It's floating face down, bloated and discolored, bobbing in the current. We give it a wide berth, but as we pass, its head turns slightly, following our movement. It's not dead. It's infected, and somehow still functioning despite being in the water for who knows how long. Can they swim? Raphael asks, voicing the question we're all thinking. I don't think so, Quinn says. But they can float, apparently, and they can still track prey. Stay alert. We see two more over the next few hours, both floating, both tracking us with their clouded eyes as we pass. It's disturbing on a deep level, the idea that even the water isn't safe, that these things can persist in conditions that would kill a normal person. By late afternoon, we're approaching a larger town. The map identifies it as Riverside Junction, population maybe 15,000. The river narrows here, channeled between concrete embankments, and there's a series of locks that boats have to pass through to continue north. We need to go through those locks, Raphael says, studying the chart. There's no way around them. The river drops maybe 20 feet here. Locks mean stopping, mean being stationary and vulnerable. I don't like it. Can we bypass? Go overland? With this boat? No. She draws 4 feet. We'd have to find a trailer, a truck big enough to pull her, roads clear enough to travel. It's not realistic. Quinn is looking at the locks through binoculars. I don't see any movement. The gates are closed, but there's a control building. If we can get the power working, we might be able to operate them ourselves. And if we can't, then we're stuck here until we figure something out. We approach slowly, the engine barely idling. The lock system is impressive. Massive concrete chambers with steel gates designed to raise and lower boats as they travel between different water levels. In normal times, there would be operators managing the process, guiding boats through safely. Now the control building is dark and silent, and the gates are shut tight. We tie up to the approach dock, and Quinn, Raphael, and I disembark to investigate. Piper stays on the boat with a radio, watching our backs. The dock is empty except for one boat, a small fishing vessel, tied up and abandoned. There's dried blood on the deck, but no bodies, no infected. The control building is locked. Raphael examines the door, then the windows. I can get us in? Give me 5 minutes. He uses a crowbar from our supplies to pry open a window, then climbs through. Moments later, the door unlocks from inside, and we enter. The control room is small, dominated by a console with switches and levers. Emergency lighting provides dim illumination. On the console is a laminated instruction sheet explaining the lock operation procedure. It's designed to be simple enough that any boat operator can understand it. Okay, Raphael says, studying the sheet. We need to fill the chamber first, which means opening the upper gates and letting water in. Then we enter, close the upper gates, drain the chamber by opening the lower gates, and exit. Simple hydraulics. Will it work without main power? Quinn asks. Should. The gates are gravity operated mostly. As long as the valves aren't seized, we should be able to do this manually. We spend 20 minutes figuring out the system, testing valves and switches. Finally, with a loud groaning of metal, the upper gates begin to open. Water rushes through, equalizing the level in the lock chamber with the upper pool. It works. All right, Quinn says. Let's get the boat through. I radio Piper to bring the ark into position. She's nervous. I can hear it in her voice. But she manages to steer the boat into the lock chamber. It's a tight fit, maybe 10 feet of clearance on either side, and the concrete walls rise high above us, oppressive and claustrophobic. Raphael and Quinn close the upper gates, sealing us in. Then they open the drains, and the water level starts to drop. Slowly, smoothly, the ark descends into the chamber. 20 feet. The walls tower above us now, blocking out the sky. It takes 15 minutes for the chamber to drain completely. Then the lower gates open, and ahead of us is the river at the lower level, clear and open. Raphael steers us out, and we're through. We did it. We tie up on the downstream side while Raphael and Quinn go back to close everything up, leaving the system ready for the next boat that might need it. If there is a next boat. That was terrifying, Piper says when they return. Being stuck in that box, walls all around. What if something had gone wrong? It didn't, Quinn says. We're fine, and now we know we can operate locks if we need to. That opens up more of the river for us. She's right. The ability to navigate locks means we can access upstream sections that might be less traveled, less exposed. It's a valuable skill we just learned. We continue north, leaving Riverside Junction behind. The town looked deserted from the river, but we didn't investigate closely. No need to take risks we don't have to. As dusk approaches, we anchor for the night in a wide section of river, far from both shores. The sunset is spectacular, painting the sky in oranges and purples, reflecting off the water. It's beautiful, and the contrast between the beauty and the horror of our situation is jarring. We eat dinner together on the deck, a meal of rice and beans with some of the vegetables from Willow Bend, supplemented with canned chicken. It's simple but filling. The conversation is quiet, reflective. Do you think there are other people doing what we're doing? Piper asks. Building boats, trying to survive on the water? Probably, Quinn says. Water is safer than land, less infected, more mobility. Anyone smart enough and lucky enough to have access to a boat probably thought of it. So where are they? We haven't seen anyone. Maybe they're hiding like we were. Maybe they're on different rivers, different lakes. Or maybe... She doesn't finish, but we all understand. Maybe they didn't make it. That night, during my watch shift, I sit on the deck and look at the stars. They're brighter than I ever remember seeing them, undimmed by city lights that no longer burn. The Milky Way stretches across the sky, a river of stars above this river of water. I think about the collapse, about how quickly everything fell apart. 3 days from first outbreak to societal breakdown. How is that possible? How did we build a civilization so fragile that a single disease could topple it in 72 hours? Maybe we were always more fragile than we thought. Maybe the complexity of modern life, the supply chains, the technology, the infrastructure, was so interconnected that removing one piece brought down the whole structure. Or maybe humanity just isn't good at facing existential threats. We panic. We fight each other instead of the problem. We make it worse. Whatever the reason, we're in a new world now. A world where the old rules don't apply, where survival requires different skills, different thinking, and we're adapting. The Ark is proof of that. Proof that we can build something new, something better suited to this reality. I finish my watch and wake Raphael for his shift. He emerges from the cabin, stretching, and takes position with his rifle. I go inside and lie down, and despite everything, I sleep. The days begin to blur together. We make good progress north, covering maybe 30 or 40 miles a day depending on current and wind. The solar panels keep our batteries topped off. The plants grow. We have to stake the tomatoes to keep them upright, and the lettuce is already big enough to harvest. We eat fresh salad, an incredible luxury. and plant more seeds to replace what we harvested. We see occasional signs of survivors on shore. Laundry hanging on lines, smoke from cooking fires. Once a waving figure on a dock who we wave back to but don't approach. We're cautious about contact, unsure who we can trust. We also see more infected. They seem drawn to the water, perhaps seeking it instinctively. We see them on docks, on shore, sometimes just standing in the shallows, like they're waiting for something. We avoid them, staying in mid-channel, and they can't reach us. On the 7th day out from Willow Bend, we encounter our first real problem. The engine starts making a strange noise, a rattling that wasn't there before. Raphael immediately cuts throttle and investigates. Something's wrong with the cooling system, he reports after checking the engine compartment. Could be the impeller. If it fails completely, the engine will overheat. We need to fix it before we can continue. Can we fix it? Quinn asks. Maybe, if we have parts. Do we have parts? We search our supplies. We have tools, we have spare filters and belts, but we don't have a spare impeller for the water pump. It's a specific part, not something we thought to stock. We need to dock, Raphael says. Find a marina or a marine supply store. Get the part we need. Docking means exposure, means risk. But without the engine, we're at the mercy of the current, unable to navigate properly. We don't have a choice. According to the chart, there's a small marina about 5 miles ahead at a place called Cedar Landing. It's our best option. We limp there on minimal throttle, the engine protesting with every revolution. Cedar Landing is tiny, maybe a dozen houses, a general store, and a marina with 6 slips. From the water, it looks completely abandoned. No lights, no movement, no smoke. Ghost town. We approach carefully, weapons ready. The marina has a small building, probably the office, and a few boats still tied up. A sailboat, 2 fishing boats, a pontoon. We tie up at the end dock, and Raphael, Quinn, and I go ashore. The silence is absolute. No birds, no wind, nothing. It's unnerving. The marina office is unlocked. Inside, it's been ransacked. Drawers pulled open, papers scattered, the cash register hanging open and empty. But there's a door marked Parts and Supplies that's still closed. Raphael opens it, and inside is a small inventory room. Shelves full of marine parts, organized by type. He searches methodically, checking labels, and finally finds what he needs. A replacement impeller that fits our engine. Got it, he says, relief evident in his voice. Let me install this, test it, and we can be out of here in an hour. We return to the boat, and Raphael sets to work. Quinn and I keep watch, scanning the shore for any sign of trouble. Piper's on the roof, her crossbow ready. 30 minutes pass. The work is taking longer than expected. The old impeller is seized and difficult to remove. Raphael curses quietly, working at it with tools. Then Piper hisses, "Movement! Shoreside! By the general store!" I look where she's pointing and see them. 3 infected, emerging from between buildings. They've spotted us, spotted the boat, and they're coming. How fast can you finish? Quinn asks Raphael. 5 more minutes, maybe 10. We don't have 10. She draws her pistol. Garrett, get ready. We may have to hold them off. The infected reach the shore and don't hesitate. They wade into the water, drawn by our presence. The water is shallow near shore, and they make progress, moving toward us with that relentless determination. They're coming into the water, I report, my voice tight. Can they reach us? I don't know. Maybe. The lead infected is waist deep now, still coming. Behind it, 2 more follow. And beyond them, I see more shapes emerging from the town. Many more. "Raphael," Quinn says urgently. "I need that engine now." "Almost. Got it." The seized impeller comes free. He quickly installs the new one, reattaches hoses, tightens clamps. "Start it up." Quinn runs to the helm and turns the key. The engine coughs, sputters, then catches with a beautiful roar. The telltale stream of cooling water shoots from the side of the hull. It works. "Cast off," she shouts. I release the mooring lines, and the Ark pulls away from the dock just as the first infected reaches grabbing distance. Its fingers brush the hull, finding no purchase, and it sinks below the surface. The others follow it into deeper water, disappearing beneath the dark surface. We're moving, leaving Cedar Landing behind. Quinn guns the engine, and we surge forward, putting distance between us and the town. I watch the shore recede, watch the infected cluster at the water's edge, unable to follow. "That was too close," Piper says, her voice shaking. "But we made it," Quinn counters. "We got what we needed and got out. That's all that matters." Raphael emerges from the engine compartment, covered in grease and sweat. "Engine's running perfect now. Should be good for thousands of miles." "Good, because we're not stopping again unless we absolutely have to." We continue north, and as the adrenaline fades, exhaustion takes its place. The constant vigilance, the stress, the fear, it's wearing us down. We need a break, need to find somewhere truly safe and where we can rest without watching our backs every second. That evening, as we anchor for the night, Quinn calls a meeting. We need to talk about our long-term plan. We can't just keep running north forever. We need a destination, a goal. "What do you have in mind?" I ask. "There are islands upriver. The chart shows several, some of them uninhabited or lightly populated. If we can find one that's defensible, we could set up a permanent base. Clear it of infected if necessary, then fortify it. Build something lasting." "An island," Raphael says, considering. "That's actually smart. Water all around means no surprise attacks. Limited approach vectors, easier to defend. And we have the boat to get there, to supply ourselves. We could even shuttle between islands if needed, explore the area safely." Piper looks uncertain. "What if there are infected on the island?" "Then we clear them. We've done it before. And an island will have fewer infected than the mainland. Limited population, no way for more to arrive once we secure it." It makes sense. An island could be the sanctuary we've been looking for. Defensible, isolated, sustainable with our systems. We could actually build a life there, not just survive, but live. "I'm in," I say. Raphael nods. "Me too." Piper takes longer, but finally she agrees. "Okay, let's find an island." We spend that evening studying the charts, looking for candidates. There are several possibilities, all of them 50 to 100 miles upriver. Some are privately owned, some are park land, some are just rocks with trees. We narrow it down to 3 promising targets and decide to scout them in order. The next morning, we're underway early, pushing the engine harder now that it's running properly. The weather is good, the water calm, and we make excellent progress. The plants on the roof are flourishing. We harvest more lettuce and some radishes, our first homegrown produce beyond what we planted in Willow Bend. "This is incredible," Piper says, holding a radish she just pulled. "We grew this on a boat in the apocalypse." It is incredible. It's proof that we're not just surviving. We're thriving. We're adapting and building and creating something new. 2 days later, we reach the first island on our list. It's called Harper's Island according to the chart. About 40 acres of forested land sitting in the middle of the river. There's a narrow channel separating it from the mainland on one side, maybe 50 yards across. We circle the island slowly, studying it from the water. There are signs of habitation, a few structures visible through the trees, what might be a dock on the south side. But no lights, no smoke, no obvious activity. Could be abandoned, Quinn says. Or the residents could be hiding, or infected. Only one way to find out. We approach the dock cautiously, weapons ready. The dock is old but sturdy, and tied to it is a small fishing boat, empty and covered in bird droppings. We tie up beside it, and Quinn, Raphael, and I go ashore. The island is beautiful. Old-growth trees, ferns, moss covering everything. A trail leads from the dock into the interior, well maintained. We follow it carefully, alert for any sound or movement. The first structure we find is a cabin, maybe 30 feet by 20 feet, built from logs and weathered by time. The door is closed, but not locked. Quinn pushes it open, pistol raised, and we clear the interior. Empty, but not ransacked. Everything is neat, orderly. There's food in the cupboards, beds made, personal belongings on shelves. It's like the residents just stepped out and never came back. Creepy, Raphael mutters. We find 2 more cabins, both similar, all empty, all untouched. Then, on the north end of the island, we find why. There's a small cemetery, marked with simple wooden crosses. Fresh graves, the dirt still dark, 7 of them. And beside the graves, a note weighted down with a rock. To whoever finds this, we were the Brenner family, lived here 20 years. When the sickness came, we quarantined ourselves, hoped to wait it out. It didn't work. Sam got it first, then Linda, then the kids one by one. I'm the last, and I feel it coming. Buried them all proper. If you're reading this and you're still human, the island is yours. Take care of it. God bless. Martin Brenner. The note is dated 8 days ago. We stand there in silence, looking at the graves. A whole family wiped out. They did everything right, isolated themselves, quarantined. And it didn't matter. The infection found them anyway. We should check the island completely, Quinn finally says. Make sure there are no infected here, that Martin didn't turn and wander off. We spend the next 3 hours searching every inch of Harper's Island. We find no infected, no bodies beyond the 7 graves. Martin must have ended his own life before turning, a final act of consideration for whoever came after. By late afternoon, we've completed the survey. The island is perfect. Fresh water from a spring. Gardens overgrown but recoverable. The cabins are solid, well built. Solar panels on one of them, older models but functional. A generator with fuel stored. Supplies, tools, everything we'd need. We gather at the dock to discuss. This is it, Quinn says. This is what we've been looking for. Defensible, supplied, isolated. We could make this work. What about Martin? Piper asks quietly. And his family? We're just taking their home. They're gone, Quinn says gently. And Martin invited us to in his note. He wanted someone to use what they built, not let it go to waste. It still feels wrong. I know. But they'd want us to survive. They'd want their home to mean something. Raphael is nodding. We can honor them, maintain the graves, remember them. But Quinn's right. This place is too perfect to pass up. I think about the Brenner family, about their hope that isolation would save them, about how wrong they were and how right we might be, with all our preparations and mobility and awareness. Or maybe we'll end up the same way, buried on some island or riverbank, leaving a note for whoever comes next. But we have to try. All right, I say. Let's make Harper's Island our home. That night, We sleep in the cabins for the first time in over a week. Real beds, real walls, space to spread out. It's luxury beyond measure. Piper claims the smallest cabin for herself, needing privacy, needing space from the rest of us. Quinn and Raphael take the middle cabin. I take the largest, the one that was probably Martin and Linda's. There are photos on the walls, a family, happy, kids growing up through the years. I study them, learning their faces, trying to understand who they were. They were just normal people trying to survive, like us. And they failed. But maybe their failure will help us succeed by giving us this place, these resources. I lie in bed that night and listen to the sounds of the island. Wind in the trees, water lapping at the shore, owls hunting. It's peaceful in a way I'd forgotten existed. No engine rumble, no constant vigilance from the boat, just quiet. But I can't fully relax, because I know what's out there beyond this island, in the towns and cities and wilderness. Millions of infected, maybe billions worldwide, all hunting, all hungry. And we're just 4 people on a small island, pretending we can survive. Tomorrow we'll start fortifying, start building defenses, start turning Harper's Island into a true sanctuary. But tonight, for the first time since the outbreak began, I sleep in a real bed. And I dream of a future where maybe, just maybe, we make it. The morning sun through the cabin window wakes me. For a confused moment, I don't know where I am. Then memory returns. The island, the cabins, our decision to stay. I sit up, feeling more rested than I have in weeks, and look around the room that's now mine. Martin Brenner's room. His life is still here. Clothes in the closet, books on the shelf, a journal on the nightstand that I haven't dared to open. It feels intrusive, living in a dead man's space, but also strangely comforting. He survived here for 20 years. Maybe we can too. I dress and step outside into cool morning air. The island is beautiful in daylight, the trees filtering sunshine into golden beams, the undergrowth lush and green. I can hear the river on all sides, a constant susurrus that's soothing rather than threatening. Quinn is already up, standing at the island's highest point, surveying our new domain through binoculars. Morning, she calls when she sees me. Sleep okay? Better than I have in forever. You? Same. This place is good, Garrett. Really good. Come look at this. I join her. She hands me the binoculars. From this vantage, I can see the entire island laid out below us, and beyond it, the river stretching in both directions. The nearest shore is maybe 80 yards away, close enough to see details, far enough that nothing can reach us without crossing water. I've been watching the banks, Quinn says. Haven't seen any infected. Some wildlife, deer, rabbits, birds everywhere. It's like the world is returning to normal, at least out here. Returning to what it was before humans, maybe. Not normal for us. True. But I'll take it. She lowers the binoculars. I've been thinking about our priorities. First thing is security. We need to make sure no infected can reach the island, which means patrolling, setting up early warning systems. Second is sustainability. The gardens need work. We should expand them, maybe set up fishing. Third is long-term survival. Medical knowledge, skills training, preservation of information in case something happens to one of us. It's a solid plan, militarily organized, practical. What about the boat? The Ark stays. We keep it fueled and maintained, ready to go if we need to evacuate or go on supply runs. It's our lifeline, our escape route. But this island becomes our base, our real home. Raphael and Piper emerge from their cabins, and we gather to discuss the plan. Everyone agrees with Quinn's priorities. We divide tasks. Raphael will work on the solar panel system, expanding it to power all 3 cabins. Piper will help me with the gardens, clearing the overgrown plots and planting new crops. Quinn will establish a security routine. Patrol routes, watch schedules, weapon maintenance. We spend the morning exploring more thoroughly. Behind the cabins, we find the gardens Martin mentioned in his note. About a 1/4 acre of raised beds, now choked with weeds, but still viable. There's a root cellar dug into a hillside, cool and dry, perfect for storage. A shed full of tools, seeds in packets, fertilizer. Everything we need to be self-sufficient. This is going to take a lot of work, Piper says, looking at the gardens. But we can do it. We should plant everything we can now, while the season is right. Potatoes, beans, squash, corn if the seeds are good. She's transformed from the traumatized girl on the boat into someone focused, purposeful. The work gives her something to hold on to, I think. Something to build instead of just surviving. We work through the day, clearing weeds, preparing beds, planting. It's hard physical labor that leaves me sore and covered in dirt. But it feels good. Productive. Like we're building a future instead of just fleeing the past. By evening, we've planted maybe 1/3 of the garden space. Raphael has the solar system fully operational, with power running to all 3 cabins. Quinn has walked the entire perimeter of the island, noting the best observation points and potential weak spots. We eat dinner together in the largest cabin, Martin's cabin, which we've designated as the common space. The meal is simple but satisfying. Canned stew heated on the propane stove, bread from our supplies, fresh radishes from the boat garden. We're exhausted, but in good spirits. This could really work, Raphael says. A few more weeks of work, and we'll have everything we need here. Food, power, shelter. We could ride out the apocalypse in comfort. Don't get too comfortable, Quinn warns. Comfort makes you careless. We stay sharp, stay ready. The infection is still out there. Have you seen any sign of it? Piper asks. On the shores, I mean? Not today. But that doesn't mean they're not there. They could be inland, in the towns, or they could have moved on, following sounds or movement. We can't assume we're safe just because we don't see them. She's right, of course. But it's hard not to relax a little, here on this island with its trees and quiet and distance from the horror we've seen. That night, I take first watch. We've established a rotation, 2 hours on, 6 hours off, rotating through the 4 of us. My watch is from 10 to midnight, sitting on the dock with a rifle across my lap, watching the dark water and darker shores. The stars are brilliant, undimmed by any light pollution. I find constellations I remember from childhood, Orion, Cassiopeia, the Big Dipper pointing to the North Star. The same stars humans have watched for thousands of years, indifferent to our struggles, our civilizations rising and falling beneath them. I think about what we're doing here, about whether it's enough. 4 people on an island, growing food, hiding from infected. Is this survival or just delaying the inevitable? If the infection truly is global, if society has collapsed everywhere, what future do we have? Do we just live out our days here and then die, leaving nothing behind? Or maybe that's enough. Maybe survival is its own purpose. Maybe keeping these 4 lives going, maintaining this small spark of humanity, is meaningful even if no one ever knows we existed. Footsteps behind me. I turn, raising the rifle instinctively, then relax when I see it's Piper. Can't sleep? I ask. Not really. Mind if I sit? Go ahead. She settles onto the dock beside me, dangling her feet over the water. For a while, neither of us speaks. Then, do you think about them, the people who died? All the time. Me too. My family, my friends, everyone. I close my eyes and I see them, and I don't know if they're alive or dead or changed. The not knowing is the worst part. Yeah. My mom always said that hope was the most important thing, that as long as you had hope, you could survive anything. But I don't feel hopeful. I just feel empty. I don't know what to say to that. I feel empty too, hollowed out by loss and fear and the sheer weight of everything that's happened. But I try. Maybe hope isn't a feeling. Maybe it's a choice. We choose to plant gardens even though we don't know if we'll live to harvest them. We choose to fortify this place even though we don't know if it will keep us safe. We choose to keep going. Maybe that's hope. She considers this. Maybe. Or maybe we're just too stubborn to quit. That works too. She smiles slightly, the first smile I've seen from her in days. Thanks, Garrett, for listening, for not treating me like a kid who needs to be protected. You've earned your place here. We all see that. I hope so. I want to pull my weight, be useful. I don't want to be dead weight. You're not. You're essential. Those gardens? We'd be lost without your knowledge. She nods, seeming satisfied. We sit in comfortable silence until midnight, when Raphael emerges to take the next watch. Piper and I return to our cabins, and I fall asleep quickly, lulled by the knowledge that someone is watching, that we're safe for now. The next week passes in a blur of work. We clear and plant the entire garden, a massive undertaking that leaves us exhausted but satisfied. The root cellar gets cleaned and organized, stocked with our canned goods and dried foods. The cabins get weatherproofed, the roofs patched, the doors reinforced. We build a dock for the Ark, more substantial than the old one, and extend it to include a covered area for working on the boat systems. Raphael discovers that Martin had a ham radio set up in one of the cabins. It's old but functional, and he spends hours trying to make contact with other survivors. Mostly he gets static, but occasionally voices break through, fragments of conversation, distress calls, sometimes just someone reading coordinates or instructions. We listen, trying to piece together information about the outside world, but it's fragmentary and confusing. One thing becomes clear. The outbreak was global. Every continent, every country. The radio chatter we hear is all about survival, about fleeing, about the infected. There's no government response being coordinated, no military action being planned. Civilization collapsed everywhere, all at once. And what's left is just small groups of survivors trying to make it day by day. It's depressing, but also clarifying. We're not waiting for rescue. This is it. This island, this group, this life we're building. It's all we have. Quinn continues her security protocols with almost obsessive attention. She walks the perimeter twice daily, checks our weapons and ammunition, maintains a detailed log of everything we see and hear. She's also training us, running us through drills, what to do if infected reach the island, how to evacuate if necessary, emergency signals and procedures. "You think I'm paranoid," she says one day when I comment on the intensity of the training. "No, I think you're thorough." Same thing maybe, but I've seen what happens when people get complacent. In the Marines, in security work. The moment you think you're safe is the moment something goes wrong. So we train, we prepare, we stay sharp. I can't argue with the logic. And honestly, the training makes me feel more confident, more capable. I'm getting better with the rifle, learning to shoot accurately at distance. I'm learning tactics, how to move efficiently, how to work as part of a team. Skills I never imagined needing in my old life as an attorney. 3 weeks into our time on Harper's Island, we get our first test. I'm on morning watch stationed at the southern observation point when I see movement on the far shore. At first, I think it's animals, deer maybe, or elk. Then I realize people, a group of them, maybe 8 or 10, moving along the riverbank. I grab the radio. "Quinn, this is Garrett. I've got movement on the south shore. Living people, looks like survivors. I'm coming to you. Stay put and observe." She arrives 3 minutes later, breathing hard from running. I hand her the binoculars, and she studies the group carefully. "Definitely survivors," she confirms, armed. "Moving north along the bank. They look organized. Military maybe, or ex-military. Are they a threat?" Everyone's a potential threat. But they're not heading toward us, not paying attention to the island. They might not even know we're here. We watch the group move past, following the river north. They're well-equipped, backpacks, rifles, good discipline in their movement, survivors who know what they're doing. "Should we make contact?" I ask. Quinn considers. "No, we don't know their intentions. They could be friendly, could be raiders. Better to stay hidden, let them pass." We watch until they're out of sight. Then Quinn radios Raphael and Piper to let them know what we saw. It's a reminder that we're not alone out here, that other survivors exist, and that we need to be cautious about who we trust. That night at dinner, we discuss what to do if we encounter other survivors. Do we help them? Trade with them? Defend against them? The answers aren't clear. Each situation will be different, requiring judgment and flexibility. The important thing is that we protect what we've built, Quinn says. This island, these resources, they're our survival. We can be generous when we can afford to be, but not at the cost of our own safety. That sounds harsh, Piper says. It is harsh, but it's realistic. We're 4 people. If a group of 20 shows up wanting to take everything we have, what do? We can't fight them. We can only hide and hope they move on. Or we evacuate and start over somewhere else. That's why security matters. That's why we stay hidden. It's a sobering thought. All this work, all this building, could be undone by the wrong encounter. We're vulnerable in ways I hadn't fully considered. The next morning, Quinn announces a new rule. We're going to hide the cabins. Using tarps and camouflage netting from Martin's Supplies, we cover the roofs and walls, breaking up their shapes, making them blend into the forest. From the river, the island will look uninhabited, just another piece of forested land. The Ark we hide in a cove on the island's north side, under an overhang of trees, completely invisible from the main channel. It takes 2 days of work, but when we're done, Harper's Island has disappeared. You'd have to land on it and search to find any sign of habitation. We've become ghosts, invisible survivors in an empty world. A month passes. The gardens flourish. We harvest our first beans, lettuce, radishes, herbs. The tomatoes are heavy with fruit, nearly ripe. We're eating fresh food daily now, supplemented with fish we catch from the dock. Raphael got a fishing line set up, and we pull in catfish, bass, even a salmon once. Fresh protein, vital nutrients, variety in our diet. We've settled into routines that feel almost normal. Morning, tend gardens, check systems, maintenance. Afternoon, training, foraging, improvement projects. Evening, meal together, discussion, planning. Night, watch rotations, sleep, repeat. The radio occasionally brings news from outside. The infection seems to have stabilized, not gone, but not spreading as rapidly. The survivors who are left have found ways to cope, to hide, to fight back. There are rumors of safe zones, of military enclaves, of communities rebuilding, but nothing confirmed, nothing close to us. We're on our own, and we've accepted that. Piper is thriving. The work agrees with her, and she's put on weight, looking healthier than when we first met. She talks more now, shares stories about her life before, her family, her school, her friends. It's painful to hear, knowing they're probably gone, but it's also healing. She needs to remember, to hold on to who she was. Raphael has become our engineer, constantly tinkering with systems, improving efficiency. He set up a water filtration system that purifies river water, eliminating our dependence on the spring. He's built a cold storage box that works like a refrigerator, using evaporative cooling. He's talking about building a wind turbine to supplement the solar panels. Quinn remains our guardian, ever vigilant. She's also become our teacher, passing on military knowledge, survival skills, first aid. She's training all of us to shoot, to fight hand to hand, to think tactically. We're becoming harder, more capable. And me? I've become the gardener, the fisher, the keeper of records. I document everything in journals. What we plant, what we harvest, what works and what doesn't. I'm creating a knowledge base, information that could help future survivors if something happens to us. It's my way of contributing, of leaving something behind. 2 months after we arrived on Harper's Island, everything changes. I'm on evening watch when I see the smoke. Not a cooking fire. This is massive, billowing black clouds rising from somewhere south, maybe 10 miles away. Something big is burning. I alert the others, and we gather at the observation point, watching the smoke climb into the sky. It burns through the night, visible as an orange glow against the darkness. By morning, it's still smoldering, still sending up smoke. Town fire, Quinn says. Or maybe a forest fire that reached a town. Either way, it's bad. Should we investigate? Raphael asks. No, we stay here. Whatever happened, it doesn't involve us. But it does involve us, in a way we don't understand yet. Because 2 days later, they arrive. I see them from the dock. Boats. Dozens of boats, moving upriver, fleeing something. Motorboats, sailboats, kayaks, rafts, anything that floats, overloaded with people and supplies. A floating exodus. We watch from hiding as they pass. Hundreds of survivors moving north en masse. Some of them look at the island as they pass, but we're invisible under our camouflage, and they don't stop. They just keep going, driven by fear or purpose or both. It takes hours for them all to pass. When the river is finally empty again, we emerge cautiously. What was that? Piper asks. Refugees, Quinn says. Something happened south. That fire maybe, or infected overrunning an area. They're evacuating en masse. Where are they going? North, further upriver, looking for safety, same as we did. Should we join them? No, we have safety here. They're running because they don't. Let them pass. We stay hidden and secure. But the refugee flotilla is followed by something worse. The next day, we see them on the shores, infected. Hundreds of them, maybe thousands, following the boats, drawn by the noise and movement. They cluster at the water's edge, reaching out toward the river like they're trying to swim but can't quite manage it. And some of them do manage it. We watch in horror as infected wade into the water, stumbling deeper until the current takes them. They float downstream, arms still reaching, still clicking even as they drift. The infection is moving north, Quinn says, following the survivors. We need to be even more careful now. One of those things could wash up on our shore at any time. We established new protocols. Hourly perimeter checks, weapons always ready. No one goes anywhere alone. The island feels smaller suddenly, more vulnerable. We're surrounded by thousands of infected, separated from them only by water that doesn't always stop them. For 3 days, the infected fill the shores. We count maybe 2,000 on the west bank alone, pacing back and forth, drawn by the memory of the boats that passed. They're concentrated, dangerous, a swarm that could overwhelm us if they found a way across. Then, gradually, they disperse, following sounds in other directions, losing interest in the river. By the end of the week, the shores are mostly clear again, with only occasional infected wandering past. But we've learned something important. We're not as isolated as we thought. The infection can reach us through the water or by accident. We can't let our guard down, can't assume the river protects us, absolutely. Quinn calls a meeting. We need to talk about the future. Long term, I mean. We're safe here for now, but safe isn't permanent. We need backup plans, contingencies. Like what? I ask. Like a second location, another island further north that we could evacuate to if this one becomes compromised. We should scout options, prepare supplies, make sure we can move quickly if we need to. That's a lot of work. Survival is a lot of work. We do it, or we risk losing everything. We spend the next week preparing. We load the ark with emergency supplies, food, water, weapons, tools, seeds. Enough to start over if we have to. We scout islands further north, finding 2 promising candidates. We cache supplies on both of them, hidden in waterproof containers, insurance policies against disaster. It's exhausting and nerve-wracking work, constantly looking over our shoulders, expecting to see infected or hostile survivors. But we do it. And when we're done, we have options. We're not trapped. If Harper's Island falls, we can go elsewhere. 3 months after we arrived, we're as secure as we can make ourselves. The gardens are producing abundantly. The solar system and wind turbine Raphael built provide more power than we need. We have food preserved for winter, medicine stockpiled, defenses in place. We've transformed this island from a simple homestead into a fortress, a sanctuary, a place we can actually defend. And we've changed too. We're not the scared refugees who fled upriver. We're survivors now, hardened and capable. We've learned to fight, to farm, to live in this new world. We've built something meaningful, something that could last. But we also know the truth. Nothing lasts forever. The infection is still out there, still spreading, still hunting. Other survivors are out there too, some friendly, some dangerous. The world is still ending, slowly, in pockets and regions, civilization crumbling little by little. All we can do is hold on to what we've built, protect each other, and hope that we're strong enough and smart enough and lucky enough to keep surviving. One day at a time, 1 hour at a time. That's all any of us have now. But it's enough. For now, it's enough. Winter comes to Harper's Island gradually, the days shortening, the air growing crisp. We've been here 4 months, and the island has become truly home. The gardens are mostly finished for the season. We've harvested everything except the winter crops like kale and Brussels sprouts that can handle cold. The root cellar is packed with preserved food, canned vegetables, dried beans, smoked fish, potatoes and onions stored in bins. We've winterized the cabins, stuffing insulation into gaps, reinforcing the stoves, stockpiling firewood. Raphael has rigged the solar panels to tilt to catch the lower winter sun, maintaining our power generation. We're as ready as we can be for months of cold and snow. The infected presence on the shores has diminished as temperatures drop. We still see them occasionally, but they move slower in the cold, seem less active. Quinn theorizes the infection slows their metabolism, making them sluggish when it's cold. Good for us if true. But a new threat emerges. Other survivors. We start seeing more boats on the river, people seeking shelter before winter fully sets in. Most pass by without noticing our hidden island, but some get close enough that we have to hunker down, staying absolutely silent and still while they drift past. One boat doesn't pass. It's a large cabin cruiser, maybe 50 feet, moving slowly upriver on a gray December morning. I'm the one who spots it from the observation post, and I immediately radio the others. Boat approaching from south, big one, seems to be searching the islands. Quinn joins me minutes later, binoculars in hand. She watches the boat carefully. 4 people visible on deck, all armed. They're definitely scouting islands. Looking for a place to winter? Probably, and our island is perfect. Visible cabins, gardens, solar panels. Everything that says people survived here. We need to stay hidden and hope they move on. But they don't move on. The cabin cruiser circles Harper's Island twice, then approaches the dock. We watch from concealment as 4 men disembark, weapons ready, and start exploring. They're competent, moving with military precision. They find the dock, the hidden ark, the paths to the cabins. They're going to find us. Quinn makes a decision. Raphael, Piper, get to the ark. Prep for emergency departure. Garrett, you're with me. We're going to make contact. Try to talk our way out of this. And if talking doesn't work, then we fight or flee. Hopefully it doesn't come to that. We emerge from hiding, walking down the path toward the men with our hands visible, weapons holstered but accessible. They see us coming and immediately raise their rifles. "Stop right there," the lead man shouts. He's maybe 50, gray-bearded, wearing military surplus gear. "Who are you? How many of you are there?" "I'm Quinn. This is Garrett. There are 4 of us total. This is our island. Who are you?" "We're survivors, same as you. Been living on that boat since September. Looking for a place to winter, somewhere defensible." He lowers his rifle slightly. "You set this place up?" "We found it set up. Previous residents died in the outbreak. We've been maintaining it, improving it. Impressive work. Those gardens, the solar panels, you did that?" "Some of it. The rest was already here." The man nods, studying us. "I'm Coulter. These are my men. We were security contractors before everything went to hell. Been surviving on the boat, but winter's coming and we need a real base. This island would do nicely." The threat is implicit. They want our island, and they have the numbers and firepower to take it. Quinn's voice stays calm. "There's room for 8 people here, if we work together. The cabins can be expanded, the gardens increased. We could all winter here safely. Or we could take it and not have to share," one of the other men says. He's younger, aggressive in his stance. "Could," Quinn agrees. "But you'd be making enemies of people who know this island, who've set up defenses you haven't found yet, who could make your life here very difficult. Or you could work with us, benefit from our knowledge, have a peaceful winter. Your choice." It's a gamble, a bluff mostly. Our defenses are minimal, but Coulter seems to consider it seriously. He looks around the island, at the cabins, at us. "You're ex-military," he says to Quinn. Not a question. "Marines." "Shows. All right, here's my counter-proposal. We winter here together, share resources, 8 people pulling weight equally. Come spring, we reevaluate. Maybe we stay together, maybe we split up. But for now, we work together. Deal?" Quinn glances at me. I nod slightly. It's the best offer we're going to get. "Deal," she says. "But there are rules. We each keep our own weapons and spaces. We contribute equally to food, fuel, security. Any disputes, we talk them out. And if anyone threatens the group, they leave. Agreed? Agreed. My men will follow those rules. I guarantee it. They shake hands. A tentative peace established. I release a breath I didn't know I was holding. This could have gone so much worse. Over the next few hours, we integrate the two groups. Coulter's men, besides him, there's the young aggressive one named Tyson, a quiet older man called Reeves, and a Hispanic guy named Marcel, bring their supplies from the boat. They're well equipped. Food, ammunition, tools, medical supplies. Combined with ours, we have enough for comfortable winter. The sleeping arrangements get reorganized. Coulter and his men take the smallest cabin, giving them privacy while keeping the largest cabin as common space. It's crowded, but workable. That first evening together is tense. We're all wary, uncertain, adjusting to new people after months of isolation or small groups. But Coulter keeps his men in line, and Quinn maintains calm authority, and somehow it works. Over dinner, a big pot of venison stew from a deer Marcel shot, we share stories. Coulter's group was providing security for a corporate retreat in the mountains when the outbreak hit. They evacuated their clients, or tried to, but most didn't make it. The four of them ended up on the cabin cruiser, fleeing south initially, then realizing the infection was everywhere and turning north to find isolation. We've seen things, Coulter says quietly. Whole towns gone, survivors turning on each other, military units losing cohesion and going rogue. It's not just the infected that's dangerous. It's other people, scared and desperate. We've seen it too, Quinn agrees. That's why we're here, trying to build something away from all that. Think it's possible. Building something that lasts. Has to be. Otherwise, what are we surviving for? It's a good question, one I've asked myself many times. What's the point of surviving if we're just existing, just waiting to die? We need purpose, meaning, a reason to keep going. Building this community, maintaining this island, growing food and generating power, that's purpose. It's small, but it's real. The winter months pass slowly. We establish routines with 8 people instead of 4, and it's both easier and harder. Easier because there's more labor for tasks like cutting firewood and maintaining systems. Harder because there are more personalities, more potential for conflict. Tyson is the problem child. He's young, maybe 25, and he has that aggressive masculinity that needs to prove itself constantly. He challenges Quinn's authority, questions decisions, picks fights with Raphael. Quinn handles it patiently at first, then less patiently as it continues. Finally, in January, it comes to a head. Tyson decides the watch rotation is unfair, that he's doing more than his share. He refuses his watch one night, says someone else can do it. Quinn confronts him in front of everyone. You agreed to pull your weight. That includes watch. You don't get to opt out. And what if I do? You going to make me? If necessary. But I'd rather not. I'd rather you remember that we're all depending on each other here, and your watch might be what saves someone's life. Maybe mine, maybe yours. I don't see any infected. Haven't seen any in weeks. What are we even watching for? For the unexpected, for the thing we don't anticipate. That's the whole point of maintaining vigilance. Tyson looks like he wants to argue more, but Coulter steps in. Ty, stand your watch. Quinn's right. We don't let our guard down. Reluctantly, Tyson complies. But the tension remains, simmering under the surface. I wonder how long it will be before he causes real problems. Despite the personality conflicts, We survive the winter. It's cold, but not unbearable. The cabins stay warm with the wood stoves. The solar panels produce enough power for lights and the radio. We eat well. Preserved food from fall, fresh fish when the river isn't frozen, even some hunting in the forest on the island's interior where we found deer sheltering. The radio brings occasional news. Other survivor groups are making it through winter, establishing communities, rebuilding in small ways. There's talk of a large enclave in Montana, maybe 1,000 people that's organized and defended. It's a rumor, unconfirmed, but it gives hope that somewhere, someone is rebuilding civilization. By March, the snow is melting and ice breaking up on the river. We've made it through the hardest season, all 8 of us alive and relatively healthy. It's an accomplishment worth celebrating. But spring brings new challenges. The infected become more active as temperatures rise. We see them on the shores again, drawn by the activity of other survivors emerging from winter shelters. And the river traffic increases. More boats, more people moving, more potential for discovery. We've hidden the island well, but it's not perfect. One warm April morning, a small sailboat anchors nearby, and a couple, middle-aged, exhausted-looking, paddles a dinghy to our shore before we can stop them. They're desperate, half-starved, the man injured with a poorly bandaged leg wound. "Please," the woman begs. "We just need a day, some food, some water. We'll move on, please." Quinn looks at me, at the others. We all know the right thing to do. Coulter nods slightly, giving permission. "One day," Quinn says, "we'll feed you, give you supplies, treat that injury. But then you move on. Agreed?" "Agreed. Thank you. God, thank you." We bring them to the common cabin, and I work on the man's leg while Quinn prepares food. The wound is infected, badly, probably has been for weeks. I clean it as best I can, apply antibiotics from our supply, bandage it properly. He needs a hospital, real medical care, but that doesn't exist anymore. I do what I can. The couple's story is familiar. They lived in a small town that got overrun, fled on their boat, have been sailing aimlessly looking for safety. They haven't found it. Everywhere they go, there are infected or hostile survivors, or just nothing. Emptiness where towns used to be. "Is there anywhere safe?" the woman asks. "Anywhere at all?" "Here," Quinn says simply, "but only because we've made it safe, and because we've been lucky. You'll find your own place. Keep looking." We give them supplies, food, water, ammunition for the pistol they carry, antibiotics for the leg. They're pathetically grateful. The next morning, they leave, sailing north toward rumors of the Montana enclave. "Should we have let them stay?" Piper asks after they're gone. "No," Coulter says. 8 is already too many for long term. 10 would strain resources too much. We did what we could. They'll make it or they won't. It sounds harsh, but it's true. We can't save everyone. We can barely save ourselves. Every act of charity is a risk, a drain on resources that might mean the difference between our survival and death. It's a calculation I hate making, but it's necessary. As spring progresses, we plant new gardens, expanding the growing area. We repair the Ark and Coulter's cabin cruiser, getting both boats ready for possible supply runs or evacuation if needed. We improve our defenses, building better observation posts, creating barriers that could slow infected if they somehow reach the island. And we train. Quinn and Coulter work together now, putting everyone through combat drills, weapons training, tactical exercises. We're becoming a proper defensive force, 8 people who can work together against threats. Tyson is still a problem, but he's gotten better at hiding it. He follows orders when others are watching, but I catch him cutting corners, skipping tasks, taking more than his share of food. I report it to Quinn, and she confronts him again. "You're pushing the limits," she tells him. "Testing how much you can get away with. It stops now, or you leave." "Leave and go where? There's nowhere else." "That's your problem to solve. We agreed to pull weight equally. You're not doing that. Shape up or ship out." He shapes up for a while, but I can see the resentment building, the anger. It's going to explode eventually. I just hope I'm not in the blast radius when it does. 6 months after Coulter's group arrived, in late May, everything changes again. We hear engines on the river, big ones, and multiple boats approaching from the south. Quinn and I rush to the observation post and see them. Military vessels. Not improvised survivors on civilian boats, but actual military craft. 2 patrol boats with mounted weapons, cutting through the water with purpose. "What the hell?" Quinn breathes. The boats are displaying flags, American flags, and as they get closer, we can see uniformed personnel on deck. Real military, not raiders or survivalists. My heart races. Could this be rescue? Could the government have survived, be sending forces to help survivors? The boats pass our island without slowing, continuing north. We watch them disappear around a bend, then look at each other. "Should we signal them?" I ask. "Try to make contact?" I don't know. Something feels wrong about that. If the military survived, where have they been for 6 months? Why show up now? And why are they moving north with apparent purpose rather than searching for survivors? Maybe they're establishing a base upriver. The Montana enclave we heard about? Maybe. But Quinn sounds doubtful. We monitor the radio that night, listening for any chatter about the military boats. What we hear is disturbing. Other survivor groups reporting military forces demanding supplies, conscripting able-bodied people, sometimes using force against those who refuse to cooperate. "They're not rescuing anyone," Coulter says, listening. "They're scavenging, taking what they need by force. Military went rogue, like everything else." "Do you think they'll come back this way?" Piper asks nervously. "Probably, which means we need to be ready, more hidden than we are now. Maybe evacuate temporarily." We spend the next 2 days in frantic preparation. We hide everything valuable, burying supplies in waterproof containers, camouflaging the cabins even better, disguising the gardens to look wild and overgrown. We move both boats to the most concealed location we can find, under tree cover on the island's north side. We create hideouts in the forest where we can shelter if soldiers land on the island. 3 days later, the military boats return, moving slower, searching islands more carefully. We watch from hiding as they approach Harper's Island, circle it once, then pass by. They don't stop, don't investigate. Our camouflage holds. We breathe again. But the incident is a stark reminder. We're not safe from human threats. Maybe never will be. As long as we have resources that others need, we're targets. That night, the group meets to discuss the future. "We can't stay here forever," Coulter says. "Eventually someone will find us. The military, raiders, whoever. We need an exit strategy." "We have the backup islands," Quinn reminds him. "We could relocate permanently, choose somewhere more remote. Or we could go mobile," Marcel suggests. "Keep moving, never stay anywhere long enough to be found. Live on the boats full time." "That's not sustainable long term," I counter. "We need stable growing space for food. We need defensible positions. Staying mobile means constant vulnerability." The debate continues for hours. Finally, we reach a compromise. We'll maintain Harper's Island as our base, but prepare to abandon it quickly if necessary. We'll keep supplies and backup positions ready. We'll stay vigilant, ready to move at a moment's notice. It's not a perfect solution, but it's what we have. We're survivors in a world that's still dangerous, still changing, still full of threats both obvious and hidden. All we can do is adapt, prepare, and hope we're smart enough and lucky enough to keep surviving. Summer arrives, and with it, the gardens explode with growth. We're harvesting constantly. Tomatoes, beans, squash, peppers, cucumbers. More than we can eat. So we preserve everything. Canning, drying, smoking, pickling. The root cellar fills again, insurance against next winter. The river traffic decreases as summer heat sets in. Survivors are established wherever they're going to be, not moving around as much. We see occasional boats, but they're not searching or threatening, just traveling. Life settles into a strange normalcy. Wake, work, eat, sleep, repeat. Training continues. The gardens get tended, systems get maintained. We're surviving, and more than that, we're living. There's laughter sometimes, conversation, even moments of contentment. Piper has grown tremendously, both physically and emotionally. She's not the traumatized teenager we rescued anymore. She's a capable young woman, confident in her skills, contributing meaningfully. She's taken over most of the garden work, has opinions on everything, challenges decisions when she thinks we're wrong. I'm proud of her growth. Raphael and Marcel have become friends, working together on engineering projects. They're building a water wheel to generate additional power using the river's current. It's ambitious and probably unnecessary, but it gives them purpose. Quinn and Coulter have developed a professional respect, maybe even friendship. They consult on decisions, back each other up, maintain order and discipline. The group runs smoothly under their dual leadership. And Tyson is still a problem. He's gotten better at hiding it, but the resentment is still there. I catch him watching the supplies sometimes, calculating. Hear him talking quietly to Reeves about how the resources could be divided differently, how the leadership structure could change. I mention it to Quinn. Watch him, she says. But until he actually does something, we can't kick him out. We have to give him the benefit of the doubt. He's planning something. Maybe. Probably. But planning isn't doing. We wait, we watch, and we're ready. The confrontation comes in August, almost a year after Coulter's group arrived. I'm returning from checking the lifeboat garden one afternoon when I hear shouting from the common cabin. By the time I get there, Tyson and Quinn are facing off, both armed, both angry. Tired of following your rules, Tyson is shouting. This is supposed to be equal, but you and Coulter make all the decisions. Because we're the ones keeping everyone alive. Quinn responds, her voice low and dangerous. We're the ones planning, preparing, staying vigilant while you coast on our work. Bullshit. I do my share. Barely. And we all know it. I've given you chance after chance, Tyson. You've blown everyone. So what? You're kicking me out? Going to murder me? Dump me on the mainland? No one's murdering anyone. But yes, I'm asking you to leave. Take supplies, take your share, but go. This group doesn't work with you in it. And if I refuse, then we make you leave. All of us. You're 1, we're 7. Do the math. It's a tense standoff. Tyson's hand is on his pistol, and for a moment I think he might actually draw it, might force a gunfight he can't win. Then Coulter steps forward, calm and authoritative. Ty, she's right. I've tried to work with you, to bring you in line. But you don't want to be part of this. You want to be the one in charge, making decisions, taking more than your share. That's not how this works. So take your gear, take supplies, and find your own way. We'll even let you have the dinghy, give you a real chance. Tyson looks around at all of us, seeing no support, no allies. His hand drops from his pistol. Fine, I don't need you people. I'll do better on my own. Probably not, Quinn says, but that's your choice. You have 1 hour to gather your things and leave. He does, grabbing his backpack, taking his share of food and supplies, loading it into the dinghy. He doesn't say goodbye, doesn't look back. Just rows away from the island, heading north, disappearing around a bend in the river. We watch him go, and there's a collective sigh of relief. The tension that's been building for months is finally released. Should we have done that? Piper asks. He probably won't survive alone. He made his choice, Coulter says. We gave him every opportunity to be part of this. He refused. What happens now is on him. It sounds harsh, but it's true. We did try. And sometimes trying isn't enough. Sometimes people just can't work within a group, can't cooperate, can't see beyond their own immediate wants. Those people are liabilities, and in a world where survival is precarious, liabilities can't be tolerated. With Tyson gone, the group dynamic improves dramatically. There's less tension, better cooperation. We're 7 now. Quinn, Coulter, Raphael, Marcel, Reeves, Piper, and me. And we work together like a well-oiled machine. Fall approaches, and we prepare for our second winter on Harper's Island. We know what to expect now, know what we need. The harvests are better than last year, the preservation more efficient. We've learned, adapted, improved. The radio brings interesting news. There are organized survivor communities forming, not just isolated groups, but actual towns with governance and structure. The Montana Enclave is confirmed. Maybe 3,000 people now. Growing crops, manufacturing goods, even minting currency. There are rumors of other enclaves in the Rockies, the Appalachians, remote areas where people have banded together successfully. Maybe we should go there, Piper suggests. Join a real community, be part of something bigger. Or maybe they should come here, Reeves says. He's quiet usually, but when he speaks, it's worth listening to. We've proven this island can support people. Why give up what we've built? Because strength in numbers, Quinn argues. 7 people can survive. 700 could rebuild. There's something to be said for being part of something larger than ourselves. It's a debate we have often over the long winter nights. Stay isolated and safe, or join larger groups and contribute to rebuilding civilization. There's no easy answer. Both options have merits. Both have risks. For now, we stay. Harper's Island is home, familiar, proven. Maybe someday we'll seek out those larger communities, add our skills and resources to the rebuilding effort. But for now, we're comfortable surviving on our own. The second winter passes more easily than the first. We know the routines, have the systems dialed in. There are no major problems, no crises, just the slow passage of cold months. We tell stories, teach each other skills, play games with worn cards from Martin's Supplies. I think about how far we've come. From the desperate flight upriver, from hiding in the dark boat, from nearly dying at Cedar Landing. We've survived all of it and built something meaningful. We're not just alive. We're living with purpose and community. By the time spring returns, bringing the thaw and the return of green to the island, we're ready for whatever comes next. The gardens get planted again, larger than ever. The boats get prepared for another season. The defenses get improved based on lessons learned. We're survivors, but more than that, we're a community. A small community of 7 people on a hidden island, but a community nonetheless. We care for each other, protect each other, build together. And in a world where civilization collapsed, where millions died, where chaos still reigns in many places, that's something. That's maybe everything. The Ark still sits in its hidden cove, ready to carry us away if we need to run. But increasingly, I think we won't need to. This island, this group, this life we've built, it's sustainable. It can last, as long as we stay vigilant, stay prepared, stay together. We can survive this. We can outlast the apocalypse. We can build a future from the ruins. And maybe, just maybe, that future includes more than just survival. Maybe it includes hope, growth, the slow rebuilding of something resembling the world we lost. But that's thinking too far ahead. For now, we focus on today, on the tasks at hand, on keeping each other alive and well. One day at a time, one season at a time. That's how you survive the end of the world. Not with grand plans or heroic gestures, but with simple persistence, with daily attention to the basics, with community and cooperation. We've learned that lesson well, and we'll keep learning it, keep living it for as long as it takes. The apocalypse took the world we knew, but it couldn't take our humanity, our ingenuity, our will to survive. As long as we have those, we have a chance. And that's all any of us can ask for. A chance.